Hi there. Hop in. I'll show you guys how we build stuff on the Sandhill Central. And when we're all done, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. All right, winter came a little early on the Sandhill Central Railway up in northern Minnesota. Now, we did get the loop done in 2022. Myself, Quinn, Ryan, and Sam, we all did our part in building this thing. It was supposed to be a 1/4 mile long. I ended up being like 6 rails short, so it's a little bit longer than a 1/4 mile. I'm not exactly sure. But we're going to take the old trusty measuring wheel here and we're going to officially measure it today. So I'm glad you guys could come with and officially measure it with me. I'll go over some ideas and plans of 2023. I'd like to build a transfer track to maybe put some more equipment. But yeah, bear with me. Let's get to it. Measuring wheel's working. So here we go. That transfer track, I would like to put that in right off the house switch is what we call it. And then you got the pit and the floor switch that's after that. But the mainline switch up here is the house switch. I'd like to put in that one end of the transfer switch and half of the transfer track in possibly next year, just because we're running out of room with equipment and stuff. Hopefully we get that Jackson 2300 and that cable regulator. It's gonna, the one runs, the one doesn't. We'll plow snow with the one. I don't know if I'm gonna tamp or not with the other one. We just hand tamp and hand level for right now. But there's the house switch. So pretty much right here where the wheel is, we're gonna put another switch stand, another set of points, and it's gonna go to the left. And that's going to be for when we do the figure 8. We'll measure this loop today. And if we do the figure 8, I'd like to build another same length loop, put in a diamond, and then use 2 transfer switches, one on each part of the loop. You can basically, it's like a Y on a railroad. You can turn stuff around or use it kind of like a siding. We can go over that if it sounds confusing, which it does. We can draw it out on a piece of paper, but basically you need 3 switches to make a Y to turn stuff around. But you can do, if you have a figure 8, and then depending on where you put the transfer track on the 2 loops, all you need is 2 switches and a diamond. I personally like that because when we're riding around on the motor cars, it'll be kind of cool. Hopefully we can set up, I got some distance signals, and maybe we can put up a couple block systems or something, but we'll have one part of the diamond priority over the other. So if you have a red signal, that means you got to stop for somebody else because they're in the shunt. But the nice thing about a diamond is it's kind of like the frog of a switch, but there's, in a sense, 4 of them. There's no moving parts. In a switch, the only thing that's the moving part is the switch points themselves. So to turn stuff around, you know, 3 switches for a Y, now you only need 2. One less thing to maintain, and one less thing to clean out snow in the winter. So that's what's nice about that. Now right up here, this was pretty much the last piece that we did. There's the golden spike. We'll make a sign for that. Little chunk of rail that was extra. This here is one of the last pieces we did. Now when you see these blue bars, that's where the rail size changes. Now there is a little bit of 80 and 85 in the house track, or the house switch, and then yeah, the house track going into the shop. But for the most part, most of this is 90 pound. I guess there is a little bit of 80 pound Sioux line there on the inside of the curve. So when you see them blue bars, That is a change in a rail size. Now there's two different kind of 90s. There's a 90RB out here and a 90RE. There's no 90RA. The only part there's a 90RA is 2 switch points. Because a couple years ago, that's all the junkyard had. And I made them work because they're taller. All you gotta do is grind the little band off on the inside for the web, and it'll fit right in there. But when you see the blue bars, that's a change in a rail size from 90RB to 90RE to 90RB. And then there's 80RB also. So that's what them blue bars are for. We buy used rail. None of this is brand new, so whatever's on top of the pile or whatever looks good, we buy it per the pound. We pay about 25 cents a pound for this stuff. The rail, OTM and spikes, that's about what it's worth, and we get a pretty good deal on that. We haul it ourselves. So whatever they have and whatever's decent is what we get. So when we built the loop, we started this in 2018, I believe. If you guys look back at one of my other videos, we basically only built the track in the shop. And then 19, we put in the first switch. 20, we put in the second switch. 21, we put in what we call the delivery track switch. And yeah, so 4 years of doing this. Got her done. The market for the most part has stayed about the same. I think when I started buying this stuff about 10 years ago, you know, it was hit and miss. For some reason, you know, it's a metal. Winter's usually, fall, winter's the time to buy. Spring's not the time to buy. But I want to say about 10 years ago, I might have been paying 18 or 20 cents for some of this stuff. So not bad. And then ever since I started building track, the last 5 years, it's been staying about 25 cents a pound. So depends what how strong you guys got for a railroad hobby, and I guess how much property you got or how much time you want to spend on it. I wouldn't say this is cheaper than model railroading. If you guys are into model railroading, we have a YouTube page and a Facebook page, Thief River Falls Model Railroad Club. That's where we're based out of. We got a huge 70 by 20 HO scale layout based on Manitoba, Minnesota, Wisconsin, North Dakota, South Dakota. If you're interested in checking that out. I wouldn't say outdoor railroading 1/1 scale is what we'll call it. It's cheaper than model railroading. Depends on what your space is. You know, if you're model railroading, you got to have it all indoors unless you do a garden railway. But if you model railroad, you got to use up your garage or a shed, and then you can't use it for nothing else unless you take the layout apart all the time. Nice thing about modeling 1/1 or standard gauge 56.5 inches is you get the outdoors. However much property you got is how big you can build your track. And then you get the natural weathering, natural weeds that we have to deal with, which are a pain in the butt. You can see we got to do more ties, and then we'll dump rock and eventually weed spray. We're not that close yet. A couple years down the road. Okay, here we come to the last crossing. And I believe I started right about here. And we'll call it, minus a couple glitches, 1,394 feet. Now, I did slip off once. I don't think it's that much snow on the rail. I don't think the wheel is slipping. But that was the inside of the track. And remember, it's a loop. So the inside around is going to be shorter than the outside around. So I'm guessing 56.5 inches and another 56.5 inches. And granted or not, I didn't make a mark, which I should have when I started. I'm just going to call this loop 1,400 feet around, which a quarter of a mile is 1,320. So we're 80 feet, a hair over a quarter mile. And that's what I wanted. I didn't want it less than a quarter mile. I wanted it a little more. And that's just the main part of the track, not including the spurs and all the stubs. So that, I like that. That worked out nice. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe, share with your friends. We definitely could use the support. But other than that, stay tuned. We'll hopefully do some reviews this winter and go over some more projects in the future in 2023. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to climb aboard and help us build the railway, don't forget to spike down that like button for more episodes.